They thought he would be another African leader they could silence. They thought Burkina Faso would fold under pressure. But when Emmanuel Macron accused him, Captain Ibrahim Traoré delivered a truth bomb so powerful that it echoed through the halls of the Élysée Palace and across the entire continent. This was not just a clash of men. It was the war between two worlds, one trying to hold on to its fading empire, and one rising to reclaim its stolen future. It began with a speech, a subtle, diplomatic strike disguised as concern. In Paris, standing before Western media, Macron declared, "Burkina Faso's actions are irresponsible. Cutting off partnerships with historic allies only invites instability." He never mentioned Traoré by name, but the world understood who he meant. To France, this was about stability. To Africa, it was the same old script: guilt, fear, and veiled threats used to keep nations in line. France had long maintained influence over its former colonies through troops, language, media, and money. But under Traoré, Burkina Faso was breaking that grip, and Macron did not like it. A day later, Captain Ibrahim Traoré addressed his nation. The room was silent. Cameras rolled. The world watched. "We are not children," he declared. "And France is not our father. We are a people, strong, proud, sovereign. We do not ask permission to be free." The crowd erupted. His words pierced across borders, shared, reposted, and translated. "We do not hate France," he continued. "We simply reject dependency. Let them call it rebellion, we call it rebirth." That speech was not just for Burkina Faso. It was for every African nation still shackled by foreign interests. Western media erupted. CNN, France 24, and BBC headlines screamed, "Is Traoré destabilizing the Sahel? Burkina Faso isolates itself. Military dictator or African visionary?" Some called him dangerous. Others hailed him as a hero. Julius Malema voiced his support, finally. A leader who's not afraid to look colonialists in the eye. Naomi Campbell tweeted, "Africa is rising. Captain Traoré is the voice of a generation." Aliko Dangote, however, cautioned, "Stability is achieved through partnership, not protest." The world had begun to take sides. Inside France, Macron faced mounting pressure. The military warned that losing Burkina Faso could unravel all of West Africa. Business leaders feared the nationalization of French assets. A leaked statement from a French official revealed their unease. "Traoré is not Gaddafi, but he's beginning to feel like him." They knew he was no ordinary leader. He was educated, disciplined, charismatic, and beloved by his people. In a live TV interview, a Burkinabe journalist asked, "Mr. President, what is your message to Emmanuel Macron today?" Traoré paused. His eyes were focused. Calm. Deadly. "Mr. Macron," he said, "return our gold. Return our culture. Return our dignity. And we'll return your soldiers." Then, the final strike: "You ask why we push you out. The real question is, why were you still here?" The clip exploded. It trended across African TikTok, aired in Latin America, and was dissected on French late-night shows. The hashtag Traoré truthbomb dominated social media for 5 straight days. What began as one speech in Ouagadougou became a storm of awakening. In Niger, students marched. In Congo, youth painted murals of Traoré with the words, "We are not your colony. We are your equals." Leaders in Kenya, South Africa, and Tanzania revisited French contracts. West African nations pushed for a new regional currency. Pan-African networks broadcast and censored political commentary. Something was shifting, not just geopolitically, but spiritually. Africa was standing tall again. And so, as the sun set over Ouagadougou that evening, Captain Ibrahim Traoré stood on the balcony of the presidential palace, gazing at the horizon. He saw not just Burkina Faso but a continent awakening, a continent rediscovering its voice and its power. Inside France, the halls of power fell silent. Macron had miscalculated. Their centuries-old playbook of manipulation and fear had met a leader who refused to play by their rules. The world watched, torn between condemnation and awe. Western media scrambled to control the narrative, but the truth had already broken free, echoed in every village square, every smartphone screen, every heart that dared to dream of liberty. Traoré understood that this was no longer just about him or even Burkina Faso. This was the awakening of an entire continent, a continent that would no longer be silenced, no longer ask for permission to be free. They fear an Africa that no longer asks, he said. An Africa that builds. An Africa that remembers who she really is. He fired no bullet in this battle, but he fired something far more powerful, the truth. And this time, Africa would write its own story, one truth bomb at a time.